Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi class, how are you today? I hope you have a great day. Okay, before we start the class, who is absent today? Siapa yang tidak masuk hari ini? Widya. Okay, where is she? Oh, let me check the WhatsApp group. Yeah, she is sick. I hope she will get well soon. Okay, class, let's begin our lesson now. Today's topic is about short story. Have you ever read short story? Or kalian pernah membaca short story? Okay, so now I will explain you about short story. I will share the screen. Have you seen my screen? Sudah terlihat PowerPoint-nya? Alright, before we go to the next slide, I want to hear your opinion about definition of short story. Who want to try? Definition short story. Is anyone else who want to try? Don't be afraid to make a mistake. It's okay. Okay, Shinta, please. Nice, thank you. So Shinta said, short story is the story with the short paragraph. Yeah, is that true? Anyone else who wanna try to give other opinion? Okay, since there's no one, let's take a look at the PowerPoint. So a short story is defined as something it tells about a single event or experience. In other words, it's not usually multiple situations, and it's fictional or not true. Although it may be based on something that is true, short stories include 500 to 15,000 words in length, and it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And short story creates an impression on the reader. It gives some sort of lesson and some sort of idea towards the reader. Next is elements of short story. There are 5 elements in a short story. There are setting, characterization, plot, theme, and point of view. We will be reviewing each of these individually, and remember, you need to take note to the definition on your graphic organizer. So, the first element we're going to discuss is setting. Setting tells the reader where and when the story takes place. For example, the setting of Hunger Games is in America but a long time in the future. So, setting really has a time and place. If you were talking about the setting for Little House on the Prairie, that would have been in the 18th in the United States. And the second element we're going to discuss is characterization. So, characterization is the creation of imaginary people who appear to be real to the reader. The author makes the characters real or the reader through several different methods, but it really is a way of making the characters come alive, either through how they're speaking, what they are doing, what they look like, that sort of thing. The writer gives information about the characters in the story to make them come alive and make the story more interesting. So, the third element we're going to discuss is plot. Plot is really a series of events which the writer reveals what is happening to whom and why. So the plot is really the little events in the story that lead up to make the story. And the next is theme. Theme is often one of the most difficult of the elements to understand. It is the message that the writer intends to communicate by telling the story. For example, Beauty and the Beast. The theme might very well have been, don't judge a book by its cover. It's different from the topic. The topic of the Beauty and the Beast is a lovely young woman who ends up falling in love with a beast. That's the topic. The message that the author of Beauty and the Beast is trying to convey is don't judge a book by its cover. Theme can really be expressed in one word. So a theme wouldn't just be courage, but it might be courage will help you in all situations, or courage will help you in difficult situations. So the theme, like I said, is one of the most difficult elements in a book or any kind of story. And the last element of short story is point of view. It's the position of the narrator of the story and what the writer sees from that vantage point. For instance, it could be a first-person story, whether it's written from the perspective of I went to the store, I pick up a sandwich, that's the first person. Or it could be from perspective of third person. He went to the store, he picked up a sandwich, he fell on his way out the door. That really actually is important what point of view it's written from. Because the author can reveal information or hold information back based on that point of view, and it really is a device that the authors can use to really make the story more interesting. So it's easy to identify, it's easy to tell which one is which, but it's not quite as easy to figure out why an author would use one or another. So to recap, there's 5 elements of short story. There are setting, the time, where and when of the story, characterization, how the author makes the characters come alive, plot, which is the series of events that the characters go through, theme, which is the message of the story or sometimes it's a moral, point of view, the way the story is told, whether it's told from the first person or third person. These 5 elements make up the short story. Alright, so far, is there anything you want to ask before we move on to the next discussion? Okay, if there's no one, I will continue to explain how to write a short story. Okay, the first step to writing a short story is to have an idea. You can get inspiration from real life events, whether they happen to you, a grandparent who told you a story, or even the combination of a little tidbits you heard from here and there. The second step is pick a point of view. Now, decide whose eyes the story will be told through. Remember, you cannot switch halfway through the story. Once you pick a point of view, you have to stick with it. A good rule of thumb for beginning readers is to use the protagonist. The third step is learn about your character. Write out everything there is to know about your character, from their high school, their earliest memories, and their home address to their first love, their favorite TV show, and their greatest fear. Next is avoid character cliches. If you must have an outright description of a character, make it seem natural. Have the character describe him or herself to another character, or have one character describing the other character to someone else. The next step is give your character conflict. Make sure to have conflict in your short story. Don't set up the conflict. Start your story right in the middle of the conflict. This is called in media res. It means to start in the middle of the action so the reader isn't bored. The sixth step is advance the action or plot. The plot is what your story hinges on because it is the series of events that take place in your story. It is the storyline and the sequential events in your novel. Exposition, rising actions, climax, etc. are big factors in determining whether or not your story is individually unique or just about the same everything else out there. And the last step is first draft. Once you have a good idea of the story, a point of view, deep characters, and the idea of showing and not telling in your head, you must simply write. Don't worry so much about having a catchy first paragraph or too many details right now. Now you simply need to worry about getting everything on paper. Now that you know how to create a short story, it will be implemented next week. So this is the example of short story. And this is another example we can read. And here is the link that you can access to read more about short story. Okay, so I think this is the end of our class now. Is there anything you want to ask? You all understand what we have discussed, right? Alright, since there is no more questions, we can end our class now. Thank you and have a good day. Oh yeah, I will share the PowerPoint later after this class on Google Classroom. See you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.